Why, hello there, and welcome to ApostolicSundaySchool.com. Today we're doing another object lesson about the book of Acts, chapter 2, about the Holy Ghost. Well, in Acts chapter 2, on the day of Pentecost, they were waiting for a promise. They were together in an upper room, gathered together in one place, in one accord. Not the car. You know what I mean. They were in unity. They thought the same. They weren't driving a Honda. Anyway, suddenly something incredible began to happen. The Holy Ghost began to be poured out. You see, it says that there was a sudden rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting, and there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as a fire, and it set upon each of them. They all filled with the Holy Ghost, and began to speak with other tongues, as the Spirit gave them utterance. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men out of every nation under heaven. Now when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded. You see, they were puzzled because every man heard them speak in his own language. Now, what? How could they do that? They're from Jerusalem. How do they know all these different languages? They were amazed and marveled, saying, "Not are all these who speak Galileans?" They were from Phrygia and Pamphylia and Egypt and the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes. There were all these different people. And they thought, how do we hear every man in our own tongue when we were born? Well, what they didn't know is that when the Holy Ghost is poured out, there's a certain sound. And when the people around heard it, they responded to it. And when they heard it, they started saying, well, these people must be drunk. Because, I mean, how silly is that? I mean, when people are drunk, do they speak in a language they don't know? That's nuts. Anyway, whatever. But that's what they said. But Peter stood up and they said, yeah, I'm sorry. No. This is just the promise being fulfilled. You see this balloon here? Yes. Well, you see, when you have nothing inside of you, when things start to happen in your life, you don't have anything to rely on. You see, you don't have anything to lean on. There's nothing for those around you to hear, because there's nothing inside of you. You're empty. You see, you aren't a witness. You can't help them change because you're still looking for answers yourself. But when you get full of the Holy Ghost, when God places a piece of himself, not just a piece, the whole thing inside of you, you gain a source of power that's absolutely unbelievable. Now, this is a pretty boring balloon. Let's get rid of that. But instead, what if we had one that was now full of the Holy Ghost? So here I'm going to be putting a little bit of Holy Ghost in this balloon, and we're going to blow it up. I think I want to pass out. Anyway, so when you get full of the Holy Ghost, you're not the same. When things begin to happen to you, just like they did to that other boring balloon, all of a sudden now there's a sound. People can tell you're different. You don't act like everybody else does. You have joy when you should be sad. Hold on. There's a sound that you generate when you're full of the Holy Ghost. You don't act the same. You don't talk the same. You certainly don't dress the same. And people want to know, what makes you so different? You're not like everybody else at my school. You're not like everybody else at my work. And you can start to tell them, it's not me. It's Jesus inside of me. And you can have it too. And what's cool is you can grow in God. You don't just have to stay the same. You can start to get not fatter. That's not what we're talking about. I know what you were thinking. You can get bigger in God. And pretty soon, you have all kinds of Holy Ghost! And you're so just grown up in God, and you're cool and full of the Holy Ghost. And your life is screaming that Jesus is awesome. And people want to find out more about him. Anyway, let me tell you how it works. We have a balloon here, and I bought these at Walmart of all places. Did you know Walmart sells 36 inches of balloon? They do, in the party section. One of them was like $1, $1.50, $2, something like that. That's crazy. I didn't know they had them. Anyway, inside, all we have is a simple, humble, just a nut. Not me. One of these. Stop it. I know what you're thinking. Just a nut. And I put a couple of these inside each balloon. And then when you start to swirl the balloon around, you get the coolest sound in the world. Because it's the sides of the... I don't have to explain that. Anyway, it's very exciting and cool. Try it out. If you have a better idea to use this object for, I want to hear about it because I want my Sunday school to get better just like you do. Until then, God bless. Happy Sunday schooling.